Hello and welcome to this episode of Bears Tea and Tarot with me, your host, Graham Joseph Norton, and my wonderful co-host, the wonderful Richard G. Jones. How are you, Richard?
I'm good, my love. I'm very good. Yes. Nice to see you. I feel like it's been ages, but I don't think it was. I think we were recording an
Yeah,
episode
it's
weeks ago. It's been so
yeah.
mad time.
I think it's been a mad time for everybody. Everything just seems so chaotic and twirly at the moment, energy-wise, and I think it's having a big effect on us.
Yes.
But I mean, we're halfway through the year now. We've passed the solstice.
Isn't that mad? It is crazy how when did we start this? Was it January, February?
January?
So yeah,
Hmm.
I can't believe we've hopped and skipped through it, and here we are. Congratulations to us, I think.
Indeed, and we're getting strong. We're getting people from all over the world messaging and everything. It's really nice. Oh, and we had a lovely message back from the oh God, John, was that his name? Who wrote in the last time,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote back, and it was lovely, and he was really happy with what we had to say, and he said it
Oh,
was very accurate, and it gave him a lot of guidance and stuff. So he was very happy. So that was
oh,
nice.
wonderful. Oh, that's great to hear. That's
So I
lovely.
love
Oh,
the feedback.
so-
That's nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
definitely. Oh,
yeah.
good. Very good.
Yeah.
What do
And
we?
as I said, so this week we've got some very interesting letters from fans. We have a couple of people have approached me when I said that I have to go back to you because I said no, I don't look after that because I'm not supposed to know anything. That's Richard's job. He's supposed to know who you are. So people who are listening to us who want to come and be on our show, which is
Great.
kind of
Yeah.
nice. So I sent them your direction, so they have to get
Yes.
back to you.
I got a couple of
And
people lined up for the. Couldn't quite manage it for this one because this should have been a guest episode, but we'll get
yeah,
them
but
for the
it's
next one.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
the summer and people are on holidays and all sorts of stuff. Speaking
Exactly.
of holidays, but we'll get back to that in a few minutes.
She's got to get it. She's got
But
to get it in, folks. Got to get in. I
does
mean,
it
she's
does,
not. I
yeah.
mean, she's already tan. If you're watching this, you can see how tan they are.
And this is the Irish sun. Can you imagine what's going to happen when I get to somewhere actually with a bit of sun?
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm going to be crisp. That's literally it. But I wear factor 50. It's just like,
No, yeah.
Irish tint. That's it. It's the Irish tan. But I will assure the listeners at home. And unfortunately, at the moment, is what we would call a paddy tan. So it's just my arms and my face
Well, yes.
from walking in the evening, and my legs, but in shorts. But it will be all over as
Oh,
soon
yeah.
as I can make it that way.
Lovely, lovely.
No,
Very good.
possibly no tan lines, but that's another story. That's for another show. But anyway, no, what are we doing? So yeah,
You've got the
we're
questions
we're
there,
gonna
love.
do I do. So we're gonna do two questions and then we're gonna do a cledon and we've our lovely meditation as usual.
Fantastic.
So this week there was quite a lot of stuff. As I said, there's a lot of weird energy going around at the moment. So we have four planets going into retrograde in July. Don't be frightened, because the minute you say Mercury retrograde, everybody goes, "Oh no, head for the hills." Actually, no, it's all fine, okay? Because we've just gone into the new age, all that stuff is
Yeah.
happening. So, we have Mercury, Chiron, Saturn, and Uranus going retrograde.
Okay.
With Mercury going retrograde on July 17th to the 10th of August. So, for me, I always think Mercury retrograde is a good time to kind of sit back and just chill. Okay. So, what I'm trying to do is with this meditation, we're bringing in the energies of all of that. So, we're going to be doing like Chiron is the wounded healer. So, that's about balm of the soul. So, we're bringing that into ourselves. Saturn and Uranus is about moving forward. So, this time we're using this time wisely to sort of connect to ourselves and recharge our battery so that we can have Mercury's mirror to give us clarity on our path and where we're supposed to be going and what we're supposed to be doing. Chiron's balm to suit the whole soul. Saturn, of course, is patience, time. We need the patience to sit with ourselves. And then Uranus is the spark of innovation. So there
Wonderful.
we go.
But it's a
So
lot.
yeah,
That's a lot to take in, as they say.
it's a lot to take in. And then we have two lovely questions from some readers. We are going to do one. It's really funny because I clearly have to do this because somebody actually rang me this morning on the way to work, and we ended up having a whole conversation about, is it my fault? Am I guarded? Am I blah blah blah? Because they were trying to attract love. So we're going to do another one of those, and then that's called dating with a guarded heart, and then we're going to do very appropriate for what's going in everybody's life at the moment. When will it be my turn? So I'll read about that. And that's actually from someone here in Ireland, which is quite nice.
But
So
lovely.
yeah.
So where's the
Yeah, so
first one from? Do you know?
The first one is from, that was the wrong thing. Now, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. It's either Maya or Maya. I'm assuming it's Maya from Sydney in Australia.
Oh, good. Well, that's quite a far reach of the show then. Wonderful. Thank you, Maya, or Maya. Forgive us if we're pronouncing it wrong.
Is it wrong? It's Maya. So thank you.
Okay.
So from Sydney. So there you go. So that's
Wonderful.
quite nice. So yeah, we're global babes. We're global. Yeah, brand it.
We're a chain. No,
Oh God, don't get
lovely.
me started because you know I'll say something crude and then we'll have to come off air. So,
I know we're in danger of that a lot, I think. But
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. To be fair, yeah, but I think everybody understands it. It's all cheeky banter. It's like the old British sense of humor,
Oh,
where like
completely.
the Carry On films, where it was
Ah,
just
yes,
enough. Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Dr. Prod. I'd say I'm
So
going to call you Dr. Prod from now on.
exactly,
There we go.
exactly. So yes, so I'm gonna
Let's.
get cracking on with our
All
guided
right, then, my love.
meditation.
I shall.
Okay.
I shall leave you to it. I'll give you the full screen.
So this week's guided meditation is all around bringing in the blessings of Mercury, Chiron, Saturn, and Uranus, as I said earlier. Because they're entering retrograde, and that can always be a bit of a tricky time for people. So I want this meditation to help invoke clarity, resilience, and grace amidst change. Okay, because there's a lot of change in the world at the moment, and this year has been a bit weird for a lot of people, and it's supposed to be preparing for some big universal change in 2026. So we're just going to take a time to just relax, bring in the blessings of these energies, just so we can reconnect with ourselves. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to ask you all to do is to make yourself very comfortable, whether you're sitting or lying down, and just allow your body to relax and gently close your eyes and take in a deep breath. So breathing in and out, and in and out. One more time, in and out. Welcoming yourself back to the sacred place within. Breathing in and out. And as you breathe deeply, allow the energy of the earth to rise and support you. With each inhale, I want you to feel your body recharging as you draw the energy up from the very earth itself. Breathing in and out. And as your energy replenishes, I want you to let go of fatigue, stress, and anything that no longer serves you with each exhalation. So breathing in the strength and letting out the fatigue. And July arrives wrapped in a lot of celestial change. It's a time of inner reflection, healing, and realignment. As Mercury, Chiron, Saturn, and Uranus begin their retrograde journeys, we too are being called to turn inwards, to listen more deeply, to reimagine, and to restore. So I'm going to invite you now to breathe in deeply and silently say to yourself the following words. So breathing in, I welcome the wisdom of the cosmos. And exhale, saying, I release resistance to change. Again, I welcome the wisdom of the cosmos. I release resistance to change. I welcome the wisdom of the cosmos. I release resistance to change. Let your breath settle into a steady rhythm as you visualize a soft golden light above your head. This is the divine blessing that July brings, descending gently to your crown chakra at the top of your head. It pours into your mind, clearing away confusion, calming your thoughts. As Mercury retrograde brings not chaos, but a second chance to hear your inner voice. This golden light now moves to your heart center, where Chiron whispers to you. Your wounds are portals to wisdom. Let yourself feel held, embraced by a deeper compassion for who you are and what you've carried. You are healing. Now, the light travels to your spine, aligning your body and soul with Saturn's grounded presence. You are safe. You are strong. The foundations of your life are being restructured in your favor, even if you cannot yet see it. Just trust that the divine is supporting you on this mission. Finally, the light swirls around your entire body like a storm of stars, touching Uranus, the awakener. Feel the spark of inspiration returning. Feel the thrill of possibilities, for you are being re-energized, reawakened, recalibrated. I'm going to ask you to breathe in as you silently affirm, I am ready. Breathing in, I am ready. Breathing out, I am blessed. I am ready. I am blessed. I am ready. I am blessed. And as we move into July, may you feel the blessing of clarity through Mercury's mirror. May you feel the blessing of healing through Chiron's balm. May you feel the blessing of strength through Saturn's patience. And may you feel the blessing of innovation through Uranus's spark. Turning your thoughts to your breathing. Breathing in and out. In and out. Let yourself slowly return to your day, renewed, energized, and blessed, knowing that you are ready for this journey, you are guided, and you are loved. Take one final deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, return to the room around us.
Oh, we swapped.
That's all right.
Oh, lovely as ever, my darling. Thank you so much.
Not at all, not at all.
It's great. I
Good.
love it.
I think, yeah, I think a lot of people just need that, even that just little moment throughout the day, just to have something, just to take back that
Yeah.
time for themselves, even if it's only like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
totally. I used to, at the beginning of this, I used to think, well, I won't do the meditation because I don't want to not be present for what we're doing. But now I do it. It's great. So,
Mm. In a therapy session, sometimes I do a lot of MBCT, so I would do a bit of guided imagery and stuff like that. And I find them very useful when you've kids who suffer from anxiety, or adults even. And also sometimes it's to recalibrate, because a lot of our stress and stuff is when our adrenaline's gone off the day. So keep a cold pack in the fridge, and just, if you have to, put it over the back of your neck, because it instantly starts to cool down the body, which then brings the nervous system under control. So very useful technique.
It's
you
a
know.
very good idea.
And we had a little bit of an incident in the gym the week before last. It was very, very hot here, and my poor dance teacher. Oh yes, I didn't tell you this. I've taken up dancing to the crack, like just as I do. Well, I'm having a whole thing. I'm digressing just for a second. That I was doing my vision board, and I've always had this mad notion that I'd love to learn the tango. So I'm manifesting a new husband. So auditions will be held a lot while I'm on holidays. But one of my things is yes. One of my things is lots of auditions. One of my things is so for those of you who don't know, we've just done air quotes.
Yes,
So
or
one of
he's
my
calling them auditions. But
auditions, exactly. Yes. One of my things is that I've decided that if I ever get married, I would like to dance the tango at my wedding. So I'm putting it into action. So the universe will then see that I'm willing to sacrifice my time and energy and make myself look stupid to do this.
good for you.
Speaking of planets going crazy, I nearly killed some woman last night because while I was dancing, she kept coming into my dancing space, and I'm a big bloke, and she was making all the wrong steps, and I kept having to move out of her way because if she comes crashing into me, an immovable object, that kind of thing, she'd have gone flying. So,
I'm having visions of Liza Minnelli stepping out. If that
uh,
dance film about the dance class, I love it. So,
exactly.
are you the
So
only
I'm
man?
kind of
Are
thinking,
you the only man in the
I
class?
I am, yes.
There we go. See, that's exactly you're doing stepping out as we speak. I love it.
Exactly. Apart from the teacher. But anyway, getting back to the Burrell one. So God love him. I presume because he'd been teaching all day and whatever he was doing. And because he's one of the personal trainers, he said, God, isn't it really? And he's Spanish. Isn't it really warm in here? And the next thing, his face just started to go grey and he got these huge black circles under
Oh,
his eyes and his eyes started dancing. So, and he said, "Oh, I'm just not feeling right." And he started to slide down the wall. So we had to I got wet towel and put it around his neck and everything else. And that started, and we elevated his feet. But God, it was like, wow, it did help. So we pumped him full of sugar and then he was okay. So,
I'm assuming
but
you've
yeah,
got
you
no
see,
AC. Do you not have air conditioning in that studio?
what they did,
Oh,
because
okay.
this week he brought in the extra stuff. So this gigantic box thing that he's put at the back of the studio, he's blasting all of us. But it's so
Yeah,
humid in at
yeah.
the moment, So and Ireland, we're not great with the heat. You know
One
what I mean?
it's the one lucky thing we've got. We have. I mean, they're all switched off now, so you don't hear them for the recording. But yeah,
Hmm.
we have a couple of what we call window units help keep us just about alive in this heat. But
Hmm. Hmm.
but yeah, but very,
Hmm.
well, at least he didn't have too much trouble there.
No, he was grand. He was grand, and
Good, good, good,
so,
good.
but yes, we did a lovely time. So anyway, so yes, going back to my holiday. Yes, so I am going to be, as it happens, the vision board has struck again. I will be at Mad Bear. I didn't manifest it, didn't intentionally manifest it. It just happens I wanted to go to a pool party, and it just happens to be while I'm in Torremolinos. I didn't know Mad Bear was on at that time, but I happened to be there. So it'd be rude of me not to go. So,
Exactly, and
and I'm going to the
your
pool party
scientific
because it's in my
research.
hotel. Exactly, exactly. Well, I mean, I do have to hold those auditions.
Well, exactly, exactly.
So exactly. So I'm going to that. But yes, I was saying to Richard that we must do, because it is Bears Tea and Tarot, we must do some sort of episode around that while I'm over there. So that would be a bit of crack.
That
So
would be
and then
nice.
I am going to Mykonos and Athens, and I'm doing the temple at Delphi because it was one of my dreams. I had to go there. So it'll be all a bit
Wonderful,
of fun. And so
fantastic.
one of my friends said to me, "You're having like the gayest holiday ever. All the gay destinations, and like, because I'm going to Seychelles as well." I'm like, "Yeah, funny that, isn't it?"
Well, you're
But
allowed, love.
anyway,
You're allowed.
well, that's it exactly. I'm no longer young, but I'm still single and fancy free. So exactly. But anyway, so getting back to our lovely listeners.
Yes.
So will we start with the when is it my turn? We're dating with a guarded heart. Which would you prefer?
Oh, that's two different ones. That's a guarded heart, or
Hmm.
when is it my
Hmm.
turn? Let's go with a guarded
With
heart. Let's start there.
Okay. So this is from Maya or Maya. Please excuse us, from Sydney in Australia. So Maya's written to us, or Maya. we're going to call her Maya for this, is hi bears. I want love, but I've been hurt so many times that I don't know how to let anyone in. I meet lovely people, but I keep pulling away. How can I learn to trust again without losing myself? So I'm going to do a 3 card spread for this. Okay.
Okay.
So what I'm going to say is that the cards will represent the following 3 questions. So what my heart still needs to heal. How can I open up without fear? And what energy do I need to welcome in love? Okay. And it's interesting, as I said to you, I had a chat with somebody on the phone this morning when I was going to the clinic and had exactly the same conversation. They were asking the same question. So it's clearly this is a theme I need to be exploring. Maybe it's a cledon for me. Who knows? No, I've no problem.
I was going to say, you and your auditions will pull you through, I'm sure of it.
I'm sure of it, exactly. Actually, I have to laugh. But anyway, so I want love, but I've been hurt so many times. So I'm going to switch over the camera now.
Lovely.
Richard is going to be my stand-in for Maya. So let me do this now. Where do I go here? Great. Richard, can you see that? Mhm. Or can't? Yes, you can. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
wanted to
your
make sure
sound went for a second.
I want to remove me from the image, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure. But then I think you can't hear me, but I know we've done it before. No, I can't
We
hear.
have done, yeah. So I don't know. I think this must be some sort of upgrade. Okay. So what my heart still needs to heal. So,
There we go.
oh, there we go. We're perfect again. Okay. So when you're ready, Richard, I want you to tell me to stop, top, middle, or bottom. Okay. So what my heart still needs to heal.
Stop.
Okay. Top, middle, bottom,
Middle.
middle. Okay. Okay. Now, next thing, how can I open up without fear? This is always a big one for people.
Mm.
Mhm.
It's such a, yeah. Okay, stop.
Okay.
Bottom.
Okay. And what energy do I need to welcome in love?
Mm. Stop.
Okay.
Middle.
Middle.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that one's calling to me. Okay. So, ooh,
Mm.
isn't that
Mm.
interesting? I love that. So it's come out reverse, the 5 of Pentacles, which is all about coming in from the cold. So the 5 of Pentacles is about, and it really is interesting because what my heart still needs to heal. So this is a card. The five is all about change, right? So it's the mystical number. But if you look at this, it's a woman with the leper. So and I always kind of find the spirituality, it's that kind of stuff. As okay. So this is about overcoming all the memories of the past. It's a poverty card. It's about allowing help. But this has come out reverse. So this is very, very interesting. So the question was what my heart still needs to heal. So there's obviously a past relationship that to
Mm.
me they've done a number on you, they've taken something from you, so it's about reclaiming your sense of self. Because if I'm being drawn to the wand, right, which is here the staff, but of course that's a wand, and we know wands is fire, it's passion, it's that
Mm.
element. Can you see it here in his hand?
Mm.
And it's wounded, right? So I've turned it back up so you can see it. And then the woman is wearing a blue veil, which is of course the throat chakra. So I'm looking at this upside down, and it means, but that was the first thing my eye was drawn to. So that's telling me that this, you need to let go of this because it's like you're still in your victim mode. Okay. That's,
Mm.
obviously things happen and I'm not being bad about this, but it's like sometimes, yes, you need to let the memory of this past relationship go because sometimes it's judging everybody by the same standard is what's holding you back, but this is also about reclaiming your own identity because how much more power are you going to keep giving away?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been terribly wounded, and I can see the green is the heart. I'm being drawn to that. And it's over the boy who's been wounded. Okay. So, yes, you've been emotionally wounded, but you keep giving that memory power. Things only have power over us if we keep allowing them to. It's a bit like the Mel Robbins let them theory. You
Yeah.
need to forgive yourself because for me, this is what I'm feeling. For me, it's about you needing to forgive yourself for being weak because I was drawn to that wand, which is the passion, it's the fire, and you feel it's been taken out of your life. And this is like, because it's the reverse, you see the yellows and the reds, and I'm being drawn to all those colors. So that's what it is. You need to find your zest for life because this person depleted you and made you believe lies about yourself that weren't necessarily true, right? And they preyed on your weaknesses. So you need to take back control of your own life. But also, what you need to do is you need to stop thinking that everybody's out to get you because this is a financial card. This is an earth card. So this is a very practical thing. So this person has done a number on your self-esteem, possibly your finances, whatever. But you need to remember you've learned the lesson. Not everybody's going to be like this, but what you do is you guard yourself. You go, but you do it in the right way. You don't block people from coming in, but you don't kind of start rushing in and building a whole life on fantasy. You get to know the person first. But while you're doing it, you need to look after yourself first. You need to reclaim your own energy. Because only when you're at your fullest and brightest will you be allowed to attract the right person. And I had this conversation with somebody, they were out with a crowd of women. I'm not going to tell you the name of the person. And they were saying, but you're so masculine, you're so this, and you're so alpha. And they were like, this it's a female friend of mine. And she was like, oh my, but like, I'm not like that. And I said, well, actually, Laura, what they're actually telling you is that you're really strong and independent and they admire you. So you
Mm.
need to turn that into a positive. You need to listen
Yeah.
to the word.
Yeah.
You know? And she's like, oh yeah, that's right. She said, and I said, people think that masculine women or masculine energied women are off. But I challenged this particular person. I said, look at me for a second, okay? But they were saying, oh, because you know you're lovely, but then you don't cross it. And I said, but that's how people would describe me. But that's a feminine trait because think about it this way: the
Mm.
goddess Kali was the goddess of death, right? And what did she? She only turned into the terrifying demon hunter to protect her people.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but she's still the mother. She was doing it out of love. So that's the exact same energy. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. You need to step into your dark feminine if you need,
Mm.
if you want. Think about it that way. So that's what this is to me. This card is saying to me. This is about, yes, these people have done this, but you've learned your lesson. You're not going to, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of think, that's what it is. You've learned the lesson from this, and it's time to leave it in the past so you can go forward. But stop judging other people by that standard and also reclaim your power. Remember what it is you really want. Okay. And don't settle for anything less.
Absolutely. I think it's.
Mm,
I know it's a bit of a cliche, but if you ever watch RuPaul's Drag Race, she said, you've got to love yourself first.
exactly. I
You
said
can
that
love
to
anybody
everybody.
else. And I think that loving yourself becomes an attractive light to somebody else. Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
exactly, because it's vibration. You're attracting,
Yeah.
I always tell the kids in work, your vibe attracts your tribe, whether that's friends, partners, whatever. Because people, it's also true that, people say, oh, opposites attract. No, they don't. They keep it
No.
interesting. It's actually similarities that
Yeah.
attract. So you need to think, who am I? What do I want? Be
Yeah.
very clear and give your brain the signals of what it is you actually want. Like write out a list of what you want in a partner and then look at that list and go, okay, so I want loyalty, I want this and the other, and keep showing your brain what that looks like to you. Because I can say loyalty, but what loyalty to me looks is completely different to what say it looked like to you, Richard. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
you need to give your brain examples of where you've showed up as that in your life,
Yeah.
and then your brain will act as a filtering system to get to clear out the crap, and you bring in what you're supposed to have.
Totally. I did a reading for somebody recently, and
Mm.
something that they were looking for, and I was saying, they were looking for love and everything else. I was like, well, get out of your front door. Go if you want to fall in love with somebody in a vineyard. Start going
Yeah.
wine classes. Like, you got to kind of
Exactly.
almost, put that energy. You're never going to meet a person in a romantic vineyard if you don't go to a vineyard. So,
Exactly.
so it was that kind of, you've got to kind of do some stuff too. It's not, it's not just sitting, waiting for it all to fall in your lap. You've got to go out
Exactly.
and, I think, present this new version of you into the world in those circumstances where you might find the person that's, as you said, like having the common ground actually is more important.
Yeah.
In some degree, So yeah, and
Yeah.
the lady was very, she was like, she said, you're absolutely spot on. So
I
anyway,
said it to a lady recently. I had exactly the same conversation. I said, sweetheart, this isn't the 80s. He's not going to come abseiling through the window. It's not the milk tray ad. You need to get out of your house.
I know the man that made the milk tray ads, by the way.
Do you?
I do indeed. And he was, yeah, I mean, forgive me for interjecting that. We'll talk about that another day. But yes, I do.
Okay.
It's an interesting story. I'll tell you all the listeners another time. But yeah, it's interesting. Sorry you brought it up. I was like, I have to say.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you do mix with all the great stars of the world.
I do. God, well, he's now in spirit. Bless him. God rest his soul. But yeah, lovely man. I'll tell you more about him another day.
So
yeah.
let's move on to question 3. How can I open up without fear? And again, this ties in because this is the 3 of Pentacles, and the 3 of Pentacles is about being recognized for who you are, because it's the young apprentice chiseling on the walls, and normally you have a woman and a man standing behind, and they're all kind of go, "Oh, isn't it wonderful? Your work is amazing." But that's exactly it. So that the 3 is the 3 is creativity. So again, following your passions, okay. And it's the earth energy. So what you want to invest your time in will bring it towards you. But this is also about you need to recognize your own worth, because no one else will if you don't. After all, we teach people how to treat us. And if you keep going around like sackcloth and ashes, like this person over here, that's how people will treat you.
Yeah.
If you don't see yourself as being the wonderful, radiant, valuable person, boom. So you need, again, going back to that, what makes you happy? What grounds you? It's that stuff that brings out the best in you, because again, your vibe attracts your tribe. So how can I open up without fear? Okay, so start to realize how special you are. Put your time and effort into your talents, because that will only allow you to become happy. Find your interests, follow your path, because again, then you'll be happier, you'll be lighter, you'll be brighter. And then people will recognize you. So that's what it's saying. He said, put your own needs first.
Yeah.
Because when you start to value yourself, other people will too.
Very good. Very true.
And again, look, we have the same colors coming over. We have the oranges and the yellows, and the stone, that brown is the earthing.
Yeah.
So following your creative impulses, So, and then the last thing is what energy to welcome in love. Well, I'm loving this because being a Taurus, it is the King of Pentacles. So we've had all 3 Pentacles cards. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And what does the King of Pentacles do? He enjoys his life. He's the king of his castle. He's been there, done that, worn the t-shirt. He's able to enjoy the fruits of his labor, hence all the wine. Okay. And again, it's that grounded energy. He stayed the course. He's able to share what he has with other people. So he's being generous, and he's worked hard for what he has. So basically, what this is telling you is you need to put yourself into that luxurious mode, start looking after yourself, finding out what makes you tick, because I think you've given so much power to this other person that you need to take this back for yourself. And I would say my thing is that my intuitive sense is that you're a very giving person, and that's why you were taken advantage of. So this is about reclaiming that for yourself, building back up your own fortress so that then you can hand out the rewards. You need to start thinking of yourself as being their reward. Not in a selfish, egotistical way, but like your time is worth it. Hence this guy. Enjoy your life. I'm fun to be around. So what energy do I need to welcome in love again? You need to start going, I'm worthy of this. I'm a good person. You need to see all your positive traits. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting you got the wine there, and I was talking about wine. I think it's a great kind of kind of representation of, as you said, go and do stuff. If you like taking art classes, go and take an art class. If you like I don't know if you like, any class, anything that puts you in a situation
Mm,
where you'll meet people. I mean, you've got to go out the front door because it won't come to the front door, as you said. I think that's really interesting.
exactly. It's like if you like reading books, join a book club.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and even if the book club is full of all sorts of other people, you'll make friends there, and then you might meet someone
Well,
through that.
well, I was going to say, and if somebody at the book club you're not really romantically interested in, but they're throwing a dinner party or a party, go.
Yeah,
Don't say no to that
exactly.
invitation because I think it's always a leading you to that either friend or maybe a love interest or a journey
Yeah,
towards something else. You never know what might happen at that dinner party that you get invited to. That
yeah,
energy is pulling you there. Say yes.
exactly.
Uh,
Because you have to allow the universe to surprise you, as
yes.
Claude M.
Yes.
Bristol would say in The Magic of Believing, because you ask for it and then you have to trust. And it's really funny. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who's on a holiday in Greece, and they keep sending me their photos, and I'm like, oh my God, I have 3 more weeks of work. Please don't be showing me these things. But stunning. And they were listening. I was listening to the audio version of The Magic of Believing, and they were listening to Conversations with God.
Right.
Right. But both got to that point. We were both in that little point, but spoken in a different way. And it was about, um, you know, the universe keeps saying, yeah, I'm giving you everything you want. You just have to ask for it. But you keep giving me conditions on how it's supposed to get there because
Yes.
you have to follow the signs. So exactly that I had when I turned when I turned when I turned 40
You're younger than me. Shit.
last. I know. When I turned 40 a few years ago, I had the best year of my life. I had what I called a year of yes.
Oh, I remember that.
And
Actually.
do you
Yes.
remember those?
Yes.
And I
Gosh.
said,
Yeah.
I said yes to everything. And believe you me, I had the best time.
You were
So
you were all over the world that year, if I
I
remember
was.
correctly.
I was. Literally, it was like, where is he now? It was like Judith Chalmers with hair. So I was literally
And less tan, but
everywhere. Less tan, but yeah, exactly. But I was literally, where is he this week? And I was seeing all my little tour guides. Do you remember? It was so funny on Facebook.
yeah.
Um, but yes, I had a magical time. So, but I allowed the universe to surprise me, which is why I'm allowing it to surprise me with all my holidays just dropping dead again to make everybody
Lovely.
sick
She's getting it in
this
again,
year.
folks. Getting it in again, folks.
Exactly.
Lovely. Lovely.
Exactly. So, Maya, I really hope that has helped you. And I said, this is about you taking back your power, following your own heart, putting your own needs, channel your creative energy, do something that makes you happy. Because when you're in your happiest, you'll attract the right person. But be very specific about what you want, show your
Mm,
brain what it looks like, and then remember, like L'Oreal, darling, you're worth it.
well done. Good luck, Maya.
Mm, mm,
Let us know how you get on as well. Always, anybody that if we read for, please give us the feedback. We very welcome it. Even if you
mm.
feel we weren't spot on, we want to hear that.
Yeah, because something that we might say mightn't hit now, but it could hit in a couple of months'
Exactly.
time. Because
Exactly.
remember, time, the spirit doesn't see time the way we
No,
do.
I wish it did. Gosh, I'd be much better off.
I've often, I know we've had that conversation. I've often had people come back to me and go, "Oh my God, Graham, you were so spot on," you know?
My sister gets
And
that. She can get things 3 years later. Someone will say, "I never wanted to have a baby. It's not in my plan. We're not having, and
mhm,
then she get a phone call. Oh, you never guess what? And there they are
mhm,
having their first baby. She's like, told you. So yeah,
mhm, mhm,
it is interesting. But
mhm.
yeah, what pack of cards are we reading this
Oh,
episode?
this time we are still reading the Morgan Greer. I
Morgan.
probably will change them for the next time because I've so
Yeah,
many of them.
just
I
interested.
got these. Yeah, I actually I because when I'm away on my holidays, I'm going to do
Ah,
some meetings, and I bought Lon Milo Duquette just released a new book called The Tarot Architect, and he has a sort
oh,
of it really sounds very interesting, and there's like bits of coloring and all sorts of stuff to go with it. And actually, by the way, I'm going to give a shout out um to Teresa Reid, who I love all her books, and she has, which I always recommend to my students when they're coming to learn the tarot with me, a tarot coloring book.
oh,
And
lovely.
it's all based on the Rider Waite, and you color
Right.
in the pages of each card. So all 78 are there. And as you're putting in the colors, you're learning what the colors mean, but you're also learning what the cards mean.
are you putting in the colors as they're meant to be from the original design? Is that what you mean? So you're
Well,
following.
you don't. You
Oh,
are following. You should. You don't have to, but really, realistically, you
the
should.
idea is that
But
you. Okay.
you're learning as you apply them from the original Rider Waite what they mean.
I have a pack of cards. I've never used them because they're
Mm.
so very different. But John bought them for me a long time ago. They're based on the Rider Waite, but they're from
Mhm.
behind. They move the camera. If you
I have them.
it's,
I
I
have.
know aren't they wonderful and weird?
Yes.
It's like
Yes. The
it's
before and after tarot.
forgive us because it's kind of a tarot reader to tarot reader kind of conversation.
Mm.
But yeah, that kind of shifting us to. I mean, even some of the ones where you're going behind the throne. What's
Yeah.
behind the throne of one of the kings of something? Very.
Yes.
It needs a lot of, I think, study to kind of
Yes.
partner it with what, if you're going to read with them, where does it all fall? So I put them away because I loved them, but I put them away a long time, and I've kind of got them out recently, and I'm looking at them. So it's just fascinating to
It's a
see someone else.
very interesting thing to do. I've never
Yeah.
actually. I have them. I bought them a few weeks ago, and I
Okay.
bought the before, the after, and then the reinterpretation. So
Yes.
to put all three cards together from each deck, and you're
Oh,
going,
clever.
wow, that makes such an interesting reading.
Yeah.
So
Those,
maybe
yeah.
I've never read with them, but that might be something interesting to do on the
Something fun.
show.
Yeah, we could do.
Yeah,
We could do. I need to.
yeah,
I need to look at them a bit more myself to understand some of them, but
yeah,
very fascinating. So anyway,
yeah. 'Cause some of them have like monkeys and everything behind the throne. It's
yes,
really
I remember that
interesting.
one. Now you said, because I was like, look at that. They put a creature there that and then
Mhm,
the interpretation they pull from it is quite fascinating. So
mhm.
anyway,
So
anyway, love, what we
we are now going to do. We have someone from my own country,
oh,
from Sarah in Galway.
oh,
Now
okay.
that's interesting. So Sarah's question, we're calling it, when will it be my turn?
Ah,
Is, yeah. So dear bears, everyone around me is moving forward in life, finding love, getting promotions, having babies. I'm very happy for them, but I feel left behind. I keep
mm,
asking, when is it my turn? Can the cards offer
mm,
any hope?
mm.
So this is all about moving into the next chapter. So
Yeah.
what I'm what I'm so I've three questions written for this. So
Okay.
what I've done is, the first question is, what's preparing me for my next chapter? The second question is, what's keeping me in waiting mode?
Hmm.
And three, I'm loving this one, what blessings are coming into view?
Oh, nice.
So that's a
Nice.
nice one, isn't it? So
Very, very, yes, lovely. Well, that's nice because if we suggest some things or we find some things, and they'll know if they're coming to them or not. That's great.
yeah.
Love that.
So
Okay.
let's do that. So
When you're
we
ready.
will have, so the first question is, Richard, I want you to think, what's preparing me for my next chapter?
Stop. Top.
Okay. What's keeping me in waiting mode? So, like, basically, what's the delay?
Oh, I'm getting stop middle. Stop middle. Real fast.
Stop
Stop
middle.
middle. Yeah.
Okay. So that one leaped out at me. So, okay, there we go. And then we have, what blessings are coming into view?
Hmm. And stop.
Ooh,
Oh, stop if you can.
yeah. What do you
Um,
want?
that's another middle I've got there, please. Another middle.
Okay. Well, isn't this interesting? Because as I was answering that question in my head, I kept
Hmm.
hearing the song. It's a hymn. Holy
Hmm.
God, we praise thy name. And we're talking about blessings. So
There we go.
divine blessings, something divine is coming. Okay, so let's
Yes.
have a look. Look at this. What's
Okay.
preparing me for my, and look at that. That is the moving on card. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Okay, what's keeping me in waiting mode? Ooh, that's
What card's that in the middle, my love?
interesting.
Is that the Ten of
Th-
Pentacles in the middle?
It is the Ten of
Okay.
Pentacles, but it's reversed.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
interesting. And what blessings are coming into view?
Uh,
I'm
Eight.
liking that. And that's the King of
Oh, the King of
Cups.
Cups. Oh, very nice.
So that's kind of nice and interesting. We've got the King of Pentacles and we got the King of Cups
Yes.
in the two readings. So that's interesting. And look, Cups and Cups
Yeah.
followed by a reverse, with
Yeah.
Pentacles in the middle. So that's interesting. So basically,
Hmm.
what's preparing me for my next chapter? Well, basically, you're following your intuition. You're ready to leave
Yeah.
because the 8 is all about advancement. Okay, overcoming obstacles. Okay, so you've got all them, you've learned your lessons, so you're ready to go. Okay, so you're leaving all the stuff behind you, and basically it's not too far away, because if we look at this card, the mountains are right in front of you, and you've crossed over the water, so you've followed, you've done
Yeah.
your work, you've healed. Because I want you to look at the way the cups are broken down. Okay, so we got 1 here, 2 here, and then 5 on the bottom. Or if you look, 3 and 5. So to bring us to 1. Okay. So
Right.
think about it this way, but looking at the groupings, right? So 2, we could say choice. We've made the right choice to make the changes necessary to help us move on, which brings us to the 1. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. We've used our creative knowledge, which is here in this grouping of 3, to make the changes to bring us to victory.
Hmm.
Okay. So water, as we always know, represents the unconscious, but it's also healing. Okay. And it's the divine feminine. Look it up here. We have the moon eclipsing the sun.
Mm-hmm.
The moon. So, in other words, you've moved past the ego state. You've let everything, you've done the work. So, what's preparing me for my chapter? All the work that you've put into yourself. Now you just have to become focused, and you have to trust the process. Okay. You've everything that you've need. You've worked on it, because look, you've got the red, which is the root. You've got the orange, which is that creative drive, and then the staff. Okay. Look at the orange, red. Okay, so the red cloak and the orange on the sleeve. So it's that sacral and root chakra. Okay, so your sexual drive. So everything you've done, you need to move on. Those lower energies. So you're
Mm-hmm.
moving past all the obstacles. You finally followed your intuition. So basically, you're feeling a bit stuck, because, and I'm going to get to that in a second,
Mm.
but you're finally now realizing that things needed to change. You had to become uncomfortable, because what if people don't get challenged, they never change. But you
Yeah.
had to get to that point when things no longer worked, and you had to give up the ego, because maybe things were just a bit okay, and you'd settle for what wasn't right, because you weren't really fulfilling your purpose. Because look at the moon again, it's the ego. The moon is eclipsing because you're finally on the right path. That makes sense.
To me, yeah.
So yeah.
I
So
think
what's preparing me for my next chapter? You're doing the work. You're healing from past traumas, and you're finally listening to your intuition. So you are on the right path. And people get too bogged down. So go on, you were going to say something.
no. Well, I just obviously that's why she's asking the question. So she must feel the energy of
Yeah.
change coming, but there's a tiny block. But yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
But it's, to me, this is about, again, it's about you accepting who you are. It's getting back to even the previous reading, because again, the root, think about that. It's the support. Okay. Maybe you were looking for support in all the wrong places, but you had to be your own support. I'm kind of feeling that, because this is about the healing. It's this journey. It's the creativity, because this is quite interesting. The
Mm.
next card is what's keeping me in waiting mode. And like, look at this. So this is the happy ending card.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's reversed. Okay. So basically, for me, I think this is, I get the thing is, again, this is emotion and emotion. This is, you are doing work on yourself. You are doing a lot of emotional healing, because this is quite interesting when we get over here to the King of Cups. But if you look at this, it's about, I hate to say it, but I'm feeling that Sarah has an awful lot of um, family wounds. Let's put it that way.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because this is a family card. It's the happy ending. It's we've been through everything. Everything's working out right. The Ten of Pentacles. Endings and stuff like this. So basically, it's about. I think you had this mad notion that your life should be such and such a way. And maybe it's expectancy that's been carried down through, because this is a card of legacy, that you'd family stuff that,
Mm.
you should get married and have the 2.4 kids by such and such a time and such and such a time. And even listen to Sarah's question,
Yeah.
getting promotions, having babies, everything needs to be in milestone. But what you need to accept is that the life that you may have chosen can't be those, because it's unique to you, you know? And like, this is about, you've done a lot of work on yourself. So obviously, because this is a counseling card and we get to hear this is quite interesting. So this is about you listening to that emotional intuitive guidance, but this is about legacy. So it's reversed. So you've had to break free of all those patterns because
Mm.
maybe the life that you're meant to live isn't the same as everybody else's, you know?
If it's family, maybe family expectations
Mm.
of,
Patience.
maybe let's say she's the daughter of a farmer and the farmer thinks she
Yeah.
can take over the farm, and she's like, in her head, she's like, no, I want to go and be a scientist. And that, and then
Yeah.
that clash, that family clash,
Yeah.
create all kinds
Exactly.
of tensions. It doesn't mean you're not ready, but obviously there's something.
Yeah. And I'm feeling that it's about you've to stop asking permission to live the life
Mm,
that you want to live.
perfect. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you can't live your life to make other people happy,
No.
you know? And if you keep trying to please everybody else, you'll never please yourself.
No.
So as you said, moving forward, finding love, getting promotions, having babies, this is the interesting card that came up. And I'm feeling left behind because that might not be in your path. What's going to make you happy? Do you really want these things? You have to ask yourself, what is it you want? Because remember, it's also a Pentacles card and it's reversed. So maybe you're not clear on what it is you actually want,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is why I'm getting all this emotional stuff. You're sorting out your head, your heart, because maybe there's truths that you're not willing to acknowledge because it's easier for you to do so.
Mm,
Yeah.
fascinating. Yeah.
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 And I kind of think that that's what this is. You're trying to live your life as prescribed by other people around you, but that's not the life you're meant to live. I mean, from my own personal world, my brothers, two of them are in finance, you know, and then there's me, you know.
Well,
So, I'm definitely beating my own drum, and maybe this is what Sarah needs to do
yeah.
too, and
Yeah.
stop
Very
feeling
good.
bad for it.
Yeah.
Because what I am feeling is also, Sarah, is that while there are these expectations on you, right? Are they being put there by you? And
Mm,
have you had that honest conversation? Because I don't think you have with the people that you feel have put them on there. Because I think most people will kind of go and live your life, especially nowadays, you
yeah.
know? And that's my feeling because it's that root and that red. It's like, as I said, I felt the energy of support was lacking, and you had to do this all of yourself, all the emotional healing, you
I
know?
I feel that she's not asked for the support.
No, that's
Be
exactly what
there.
I'm feeling. Yeah.
They'll be there if you ask for it. It's just you're frightened to ask
Yeah,
for it in case it's the answer you don't want. But you've almost got to go. It doesn't matter what the answer is. I'm still doing the thing.
exactly.
I think that's the conflict, then, isn't it? The whole.
Yeah.
I think I'm feeling myself, but
Well, that's exactly what I'm feeling. It's like you won't know until you ask, but you can't live your life under the weight of expectancies of other
yes,
people.
yeah,
That's exactly it. So you're doing the work, but be brave, ask,
yeah,
but also get clear on what it is that you want. Like maybe you don't want a baby at this moment in time. Maybe
yeah.
it's in a few years' time. Maybe you want to go off and travel the world. Comparison is the death of everything,
Well,
you
yes,
know?
yes, it really is.
you know so and that brings us to our last card, which is very interesting. What blessings are coming into view? And the
Mm.
King of Cups is an interesting one for this, because the King of Cups in the tarot is the only king that doesn't rule his own realm, because
Oh,
he has one foot in the land and one foot in the water.
I didn't know that.
Yes, but he's also the character. He's also a counselor card and a healer. Okay, so what blessings are moving into? But maybe this is telling you because, and you'd see in a Rider Waite, you'd have three ships in the background over here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So maybe you need to get some guidance. And again, getting back to that question of we need to ask for help and support. Think about it. It's a counselor. What blessings. So someone is going to come into you that will help support you, but you need to ask for that help when it arrives.
Yeah.
That's very much what I'm getting here. This is the
Ooh.
blessing. But you are doing the work. So you are getting your own. So maybe it's that you're doing courses in yourself, going to self-improvement courses, whatever it is. But I am definitely getting it's about you taking control of things and asking for support that you need because you weren't doing it over here.
I'm wondering if there's like a teacher or a speaker that's kind
Yeah.
of lived through what she's living through, that she could kind of
Yeah.
say, well, how did you break free and get that kind of, well, I did this, or I
Yeah.
looked at it. I feel as if there's somebody, it's that example. I think it's almost like she needs an example.
Yeah, exactly. So there
Yeah.
is someone coming into you that will help guide you, a guide, exactly like the
Mm.
hermit.
Mm.
Um,
Interesting.
but it's also about you having to lower your defenses. I've just
Wow.
pulled the
Yeah.
Five of Wands on top. So you need to start kind of lowering the defenses because you're on the lookout for somebody to tear you down. So
Mm.
it's kind of almost the opposite of the last question. So you need to allow people in to help you because people are there to offer, but you need to just kind of think, you know, be very clear on what you want and then ask for the help and it will arrive.
Mm.
That's what I'm feeling. And
Lovely.
again, it's about you walking away because this is competition. You're not in competition with anybody. So you have to
Mm.
live your own life to do what it is that you want. So
Mm.
that's very much an identity thing. So it's about you expressing your own needs genuinely, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pull another card. Just
Cool.
again, look at that. We have another five,
Yeah.
and it's the Five of Cups. How freaky is that?
Lovely.
So you're too busy focusing on what can go wrong rather than looking at the blessings that you have because it's telling me you have everything that you need. Five again is change. So you need to ask for the help to make the change, or you need to say, you know what, this is what I want, and then it will manifest. You
Mm.
know, it will be your turn when you get clear on what you want. If you're unfocused, the universe won't know where to put you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
To me, it does. Yeah. Very much.
Mm, mm.
Well
So
done.
let's have a wee look. Will we do? Do we have time for a quick lead on for everybody?
I think we do. Yes. We're at
Yes.
56 minutes, so we've got a bit of time, darling.
Okay. We'll have a little time. Okay, so I'll do a very quick lead on. Again, let's have a look. We will do what do people need to know, grow, and let go of over the coming weeks as we have all of these planets gone into retrograde. Yeah. So I
Great.
think this is a big time for healing. So what do we need to know? What do we need to grow? And what do we need to let go of?
Very good.
Okay. So
I would
so
say
Richard,
stop. Stop when you can.
okay. Hmm.
And you top. If we're doing three
Oh, I
cards.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's no. Loving that one. Okay.
One more and stop. Middle.
Middle. Okay, I'm looking at that card. Loving that one. Okay. Again, swords. Interesting.
Mm. And we can do stop. Bottom.
Bottom.
Stop bottom.
Temperance. I totally love that.
Mm.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. So no, grow, and let go. So in the position of no, we have the Six of Swords. So basically, you're moving out of a time of tumult into a time of calm, which I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief. So
Mm-hmm.
as we were saying at the start of this episode, this is a time to heal. Again, look at all the water with the air. So don't let your thoughts run away with you because remember, you can make the choice to find stability. Okay, because you're being ferried, you're being ushered into calmer waters into the promised land. It's about having that bit of faith and just not letting yourself get emotionally overwhelmed by everything that's going on around you. So what you need to know is things are going to be fine. Six, remember, is perseverance, and if we persevere, we find peace.
Lovely.
You know, and again, also going back to the two ladies, support is there if you need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so again, it's about looking at this as like, yes, we have been through a lot. This year has been rough for so many people, but we are moving into calmer times. The rough waters are here, the peaceful waters are here. But you need to trust that things will be okay because if you keep focusing on negative things, what happens?
That's the message you're sending.
Exactly.
What you then get
And
back.
exactly. And what we need to grow, interestingly enough, is the Nine of Swords, but it's reversed. So the Nine of Swords is about the nightmares that keep us up at night. Okay, but this is reversed. And I feel that this has come out in this position for us because, again, I'm being drawn to the fact that I'm looking at the swords and looking at the oranges. And I think, again, it's like just reminding us that this too shall pass. The
Mm.
only thing holding us back is our own thoughts, because if you look at the two hands bound together, okay, so it really is telling me that what we need to grow is that sense of no, I know this is going to be okay. We need to focus on what's going on. What can I do in this situation? How can I get myself out of this? Okay, because there's always a solution to every problem, but it's about just being very clear that you know that while you are being challenged, this is just a test and you've been through worse and you'll get there. That's, I think, it's to grow that sort of sense of, yeah, there's nothing I can't get over. It's only my thoughts holding me back.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
And then, interestingly enough, our last card is temperance. And what I'm finding fascinating about this is we've had temperance is, of course, card 14, which becomes 5, which is change. Okay. And look, the mind, body, spirit, right? The triangle on his chest. We have the 3 flowers down here. Look, we have the water again, like the moon. The subconscious is down here. Look, there's a path winding up here. I remember I told you a long time ago that the green in the card at the bottom, it represents what we do know, the realm of the Empress, well, the physical world we're in. But if we follow that path with a bit of faith by putting our foot in the water gently, allowing the process of transformation to happen, the alchemical process, we can move along the path into the realm of the unknown and eventually reach the sun, which is the high priestess here moving into the sun. Okay, which is what we want. But we need to be creative. We need to follow our creativity. And yes, we need to dip our toe in the water, but we have to take that leap of faith. Temperance. It's yes, proceed. Okay, but it's about trusting in the process of transformation. Remember, this is Saint Michael as well, with the water. You know, so you are being guided along this, but you need to ask for help. Exactly the same thing. Ask for the help, ask for the guidance, but trust the process, and don't let fear hold you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a major turning point for so many people. Because again, we're entering the new Aquarian age. You know, and I think that's what it is. And just while the world is all going chaotic and twirly around everybody, which it is at the moment, we have to let calmer thoughts prevail. Hence this 9 of Swords reversed.
Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
everything will be fine. No, so there we go. So thank you, guys. Yes, it has been a good. Go back to the studio.
Yeah. Come back to
I
us.
do that. I shall indeed. Let me go back.
But no, lovely. It's interesting.
Very high tech.
I'm going to tell you the story of the milk tray because it's funny how it's weirdly connected to Ireland as well. So, when I lived in Essex a million years ago, it feels like I met this lovely older couple. His name's just gone out of my head. How funny! I'll remember. But anyway, he worked in movies and TV shows and commercial, like properly. You know, he was BAFTA nominated and all that. His wife, they were older. Like they had a son who was the same age as me, but were at the time they were like an older couple. I think they had him late. They had other children as well, but he was the man that made the very famous Andrex Puppy. Well, he made the Andrex Puppy ad first. He did the original Bounty ad and the Twix ad. All the ones where you had to use, none of it was CGI'd. It was all where you had to, if you had a Twix, you had to have a real Twix. Or if you needed to be in a exotic island, you had to go to the exotic island. You couldn't recreate it. So he had a great time, and he was one of the only British people allowed to make TV commercials for Irish television, going back to when the first commercial. Is it Kaha one, or is that not the one? Is it the other one, or is it a different one? Anyway, one of the original channels that very first had TV commercials.
RTE1.
Say again.
RTE1.
So yeah, so there was a rule that it had to be Irish filmmakers to keep with all that. But because of his prestige and what he knew and what he was willing to teach, and it was like, you can make commercials, but you've got to teach Irish filmmakers how to make commercials at your level. He taught Ridley Scott, so all of Ridley Scott's commercials.
Wow.
He worked with Ridley Scott first. Like they were a company together. I'm not breaking any secrets. That's just something that's out there. And then Ridley Scott obviously did all his clever 80s commercials and I can't think why I can't remember their names. It'll come to me. But he once told me, he said, I don't make a commercial. He said, I make a film that's only 30 seconds or 1 minute long. That's what he said. So they were very filmic. So his very famous milk tray ad was the one with the James Bond diving into the waters, climbing up on the boat and delivering the box of chocolates. there's a shark, and everything. And the lady who always picked up the card, that was his wife, Jackie and Jerry. So it was Jerry Paulson and Jackie Paulson. So Jackie was a hand model,
Oh,
and she also did people's nails. She used to do famous people's nails. She worked with Vidal Sassoon. But they was just this lovely old couple I met and would go around for dinner and drink wine, and she'd smoke cigarettes and we'd gossip and everything. Lovely, lovely, lovely couple. Both in spirit now, and I still love them dearly. But just lots of that tale of you bringing up the milk tray ad, and they had a house in Kinsale, so they were in Ireland a lot, and loved Ireland and everything else, and some great friends in Ireland. So yeah, it's funny how the connection all there. So, but yeah, and he said that shark is a rubber shark, but the way they filmed it and moved it, and he said I only showed 1 or 2 seconds, but in that 1 or 2 seconds, you believe it's a shark. If ever you want to watch it, it's the milk tray ad with the shark. So it's the very Bond one, the one that's kind of most famous. But he made a few others as well. But the commercial that I love that he made was for Aer Lingus. And Aer Lingus, it was a commercial that wouldn't have been seen in Ireland at the time. It was aimed at the American market, and it was called Coming Home. So it was all about flying Aer Lingus to come back to Ireland as kind of, I guess, coming back for your heritage or your love of Ireland or whatever. But he got to borrow a jumbo jet and crew, and he basically took off and it flew, and he did it like 20 times in a day, getting all the shots and everything. And it's, again, another beautiful commercial that really inspires me in kind of filmmaking, that the way, again, it's not a commercial, it's a 30-second movie. Just beautiful, beautiful music, everything. So anyway, yeah, sorry, I don't know why I'm just telling all that tale, but just lovely. And but yeah, the milk tray ad, it's still there. Go and find it on the internet. And the Aer Lingus ad called Coming Home, beautiful. Watch it. I think you'd love it. I think it's just so simple, really, really simple as well. It's just cleverness. So yeah.
Anyway. I never really watched. I watched bits and pieces of TV, but I try to avoid ads because they're just tough, and they're all trying to sell all things.
That's it. It's back in the day, he would have had millions of dollars budget, weeks to make it. Flew people halfway around the world, or had technicians building things. The Twix ad, the Twixes were this big. They were giant. They were not real, obviously, and the secret of the caramel being poured on it was something mixed with Castrol GTX, because the guy that did his technology I met, and who did all that, built the sets and stuff. So they shared those stories with me, and it was wonderful to just listen and find out secrets. I'm nosy, and that's why I love biographies, because I want to know all the secrets of somebody's life, and just listening to their stories and everything. And
it's why we read the tarot. Yeah, we're nosy.
Totally. But yes, I was very Jackie must be around. I don't know why, but she must be around, because she was spiritual out of the two of them. And I was able to give her a reading only once, but it was spot on. Bless you for that, Jackie. So yeah, bless, just lovely people. And she I used to tease her, because she was, I don't know, she's in her late 60s, early 70s, thin as a rail. And she had, when they were younger, they had a lot of money. He made a lot of money, and they wanted for nothing, and were very humble about it, even though. But she had Mazzoni outfits that were from the 60s that still fitted her, and she had them in the anyway, lovely lady, lovely people, very kind.
Good.
So anyway, a little bit of gossipy.
Well, what I'm going to ask all of our lovely listeners is that send Richard some love, light, and healing, because he's off to do some very important things this weekend in Los Angeles with the Bear World magazine. He is going to be doing his red carpet event for his Game Awards. So we're hoping that all goes very, very well. And so please send him lots and lots of beautiful energy. So, as I know you will. So until next time. Oh, are we having our guest for next time as well?
Should be. Yes. I got a little bit more time to plan it now. I've got 2 potentials, so I've got somebody, and I've got a backup. It'll all depend on dates and everything else. So you and I got to work out when we're doing the next one. Then I can go back to them and try and plug them in. But yes, some nice potential people to come on the next show, or the next 2. I mean, they're both lined up. We'll have them both at some point.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, listen, we will love you and all leave you, and we hope this has been enlightening for you. And please just remember, don't lose the faith. It will all be grand.
Bless you. Thanks so much, Greg.
Until next time.
See
Bye,
you all.
everybody.